Lesson 1, Diversity. What is diversity? Diversity is the presence of difference within a given setting. You can have a diversity of species within an ecosystem, a diversity of clothing brands in your closet, or a diversity of opinion or experiences. Diversity of identities, race and gender, ethnicity, religion, nationality, or sexual orientation. Diversity can only exist in relations to others. Step away from substitutes for the word diversity. Many times people use the word diversity in different framework, but forget that diversity is not what you are. Diversity is what you do. Diversity is often used as an indirect word. People often say, we are working to diversify our upper management, instead of, we are working to ensure there are more women and people of color in upper management roles. Representation where you see. If it doesn't appear, then diversity is not currently happening in those areas. This is the reason why it's very important as an organization to be able to evaluate how is diversity actually showing. Stepping away from substitutes for diversity requires getting more specific and accurate in your organization's goals. This will lead to more accurate conversations and strategies. How do you ensure there are more people of diverse backgrounds, race, gender, ethnicity, religion, nationality, or sexual orientation represented in your organization? It's an opportunity. It's not a gap in order to confront where your normal being is as an organization. It's an opportunity to evaluate from honesty and vulnerability in order to identify what you can do better and how you can move in a better trajectory. Different organizations will have different areas of focus depending on the representation they currently have. How do you extract diverse employees? Identify who you are and who is not represented. Look at it through the lens of different categories: race and gender, ethnicity, religion, nationality, sexual orientation, or even age. How do you use the data you discover about the makeup of your organization? Who is currently represented within your organization? Evaluate why the current workforce is what it is. What's the history? What has influenced the organization to be where it is now and the approach that the organization has taken? Areas within diversity representations and areas without. Be honest. Do not make excuses. Do not be on the defensive side. Interview different team members to figure out the influences. It is important to talk to those who've been in the company for a long period of time to better understand the history. And part of that history is understanding what has contributed to the make of the organization and the system that the organization has adopted in its present state. What you learned from this assessment should inform your organization perspectives. If you identify things that are negative, dig deeper to understand the root cause. What contributed to that? What led to that? Interview employees, especially those who might be in the minority, to get their perspectives. It's important to make sure you are not tokenizing your employees who might be in the minority representation. It's important for this conversation and the data collection to be in an inclusive approach that allows people to be able to present information at the face value of their experiences. If you have contact information for former employees, reach out to them with basic survey to get to know their perspective. This is an opportunity to evaluate and dig deeper in order to have a better inform of what the current state is and where the organization has been in order to lead to where the organization is now. And when you identify areas where it shows opportunity where the shift happened, those are all great insight to inform how you move forward. Addressing your diversity gaps. Utilize your data collection to inform your strategies. What you learn from the assessment should inform your strategies of attracting and retaining employees with diverse backgrounds. Co-design solution with those who are not fully represented. It is important as you look through the data and you're ready to move forward to be able to co-design solution. You don't want to create solution regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion that's isolated based on your opinion and what you feel is the best way moving forward. You have to make sure that you go back to those underrepresented group in order to get their opinion and perspective in order to move forward. From the internal team, current employees with diverse background, be intentional and authentic in how you engage with them. You might need to hire a consultant or direct an employee to lead this effort, so there's a strong emphasis around allocated resources to learn from this experience. You have to be able to build trust, accountability, and legitimacy. At any time, as you evaluate that trust is not there, you might need to stop and pause everything in order for you to create a space where people can trust the effort, because trust will allow the adoption to occur. Create a safe space. Come at it with curiosity and desire to learn. It's not about perfection. It's not about solutioning. It's about having curiosity to learn in order for you to be better informed of the gaps that are presented and the better direction you can move forward as an organization. Be open to their truth and do not be defensive when those who are underrepresented or minority communities within your organization are presenting their information within the face value of their experiences. Within external communities, forge external relationships. If you realize that your organization is not diverse or does not have a diverse representation that you can learn from, it's important to go out to the external community in order to understand what are their experiences so you can create an inclusive community. Your presence and relationship in your community is key in engaging with external diverse community. Building external relationships from zero. Find community liaison to make the connection, either through associations that you are involved with or friends of the organization that are in diverse background. Figure out who would be the best person that you can connect with that will introduce you to the diverse, minority, underrepresented organizations and community outside of your organization so you can have a better insight and learn from what it will take to diversify your organization internally. Allocate employee time to develop this relationship, and it takes time. You have to be able to pace yourself if you're starting from zero. Contract with a consultant who knows the community to be a bridge to the relationships. Explain your intention and be honest. Come at it from curiosity and learning. What you learn will inform your strategies. Design diversifying strategies. You have to address the being, not just the doing. An internal assessment of the predominant group within the organization could help to better understand gaps, willingness, and readiness. It is important sometimes to be able to allocate time and specifically looking at the majority experiences within the organization in order to better understand what is actually happening. Why are there certain areas where people feel content where the minority groups do not feel content? And what is causing that and what influences that? The more insight you have around those experiences, the better it is for you to be able to address where the gaps are as well. Knowing where the majority employees are will help inform how to get the organization on the right page. You have to be bold in asking the hard question in order to understand the different perspective. For example, if you realize that the organization has done a great job hiring middle management and entry-level position when it comes to people of color, but when it is senior management or executive team, the organization has not hired anyone person of color within the last couple of months or years. Don't be afraid to ask that question. Why is that? Why haven't we found or have been intentional in hiring people of color in those higher positions? Some folks will feel less comfortable to truly express themselves in a diverse group or a group with opinions that might align with everyone. It is important to make sure you create a space where people can be honest. Targeting the different groups internally might be helpful to uncover the root cause of different opinions, perspectives of those in the majority who have more influence. You have to prepare the land first before you start building. Co-design solutions with underrepresented internal employees or underrepresented external communities. New mission and value that foster employees with diverse entities. As you learn from those different groups, you're able to change and create innovative, inclusive values that makes it more attracting for those who with diverse background to want to join your organization. New policies that support the mission and value. That could be measured and it's tangible and it could be accountable. It's not just new policies and missions that sets in a silo, that is included and embedded on the everyday practices and operation of your organization. New order of operation and processes. Put in place checks and balances with accountability. Rules around language and communication. What's appropriate and what is not appropriate. Professional development. Annual training, quarterly training, having a pipeline of resources around your diversifying effort in order to make sure that everybody is equipped and trained to be a diversifying community and organization. Internal training opportunity to address. Physical changes and representation. Sometimes it might be a workflow. How the offices are organized, conference room, lunchroom are organized. You want to confront any negative perceptions that are presented regarding the physicality of your organization. Language and communication is key. Example of positive ways to communicate and interact with one another in a sensitive to different entities. Your organization's how we show up strategy is very important. The do's and the don't. Make sure these solutions are co-designed and a true representation of every entities that might engage or might be represented within your organization. Recruitment to diversify. Build relationships with the community liaison to people you do not have represented or minimally represented. Make your case. What is the value of someone to come to work for your organization? How will they be treated? How will they feel a sense of belonging? How are the incentives? Are those incentives good enough to entice people to work for your organization? Are your wages competitive enough? Is the space safe enough for someone to feel comfortable coming in with a different entity? Identify recruitment agency that has experience recruiting employees of diverse background. Come up with out-of-box recruitment strategy. Career pathways. Introduce underrepresented community to your organization through shadowing or internship programs, upskilling opportunities, and also provide education scholarship or programs if this is something your organization has capacity to. Exercise. Think about the diversity of your team or your organization today. What is it like? How would your feelings and reaction change if you were of a different race, gender, sexual orientation, or religion? What have you observed or learned from those different entities? To be a diverse organization means that you have the presence of differences of identity through your organization. What are the identities that are not currently represented in your organization? What is your strategy to diversify?